Okay, day 3, I've gone ahead and Sharpied what I've done so far so you can see it better. So you can kind of see how when I'm done, like I've erased my top guideline and I can't see my horizon line through my trees. So we'll get to that point. Today I'm going to draw in Sharpie so that you can see better. You are going to draw in a pencil still, and we will of course be using our ruler. It's very important today that we are using our ruler because we are drawing our buildings. Buildings are geometric, meaning they are all straight lines. So today we will be using 5 simple lines to draw our buildings. So you can see I've made a list for you and we are going to follow the steps together. I'm going to go ahead and number my paper so that we are all very clear on the 5 lines that we are going to use to create these buildings. So at the end you'll basically have several large rectangular prisms on your paper and you will add details to that for your buildings. So first line I'm going to do is I'm going to do the roof or the top of my building. I need to make sure that my line is horizontal, meaning it lines up with the edge of the paper. So you can see how I'm using my ruler to help me do that so that my lines are not crooked. My line is going to go straight from the edge of the paper and it's going to go all the way in and meet the top of my X guideline from last time. So that is line number 1. It comes in and goes to the left. And I'm even going to spell it out for you. Out to the X. That's where that line goes. So line number 2 is going to go straight down the side of the X. Maybe about an inch or 2. The further down you go, the wider your building will be. So there's no right or wrong way. It just needs to go down the side of the X. So short line down the side of the X, or the top of your X. All right, line number 3, we need a vertical line. So I need to make sure that my line is actually vertical. That would not be vertical, that would be crooked. My building would be leaning. Vertical is straight up and down, so I can either use the edge of my paper to help me, or if I look up at the top where my ruler is, there's lines on my ruler. Line up the top of that paper evenly in between the lines of your ruler so that you know that your ruler is in a vertical position. And then you will make your line and you will stop wherever your road or sidewalk is. Okay, that's line number 3. Line number 3 goes straight down to the ground. By the way, you do not have to label your lines on your paper. I am doing that for your benefit. You do not need to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on your paper. This is just to help you. So now I'm ready for line number 4. I'm going to find this point between lines number 1 and 2. That's the corner, that's the top of my roof on my building. And I'm going to make another vertical line that goes straight down to the ground. I will again line up my ruler and make sure that it is parallel to the other line that I just drew. And I will go down and stop when I get to my sidewalk area. So that's line number 4, another vertical line going straight down to the ground. It's very important that you make sure that this line happens between line 1 and 2 where you saw me circle up at the top where the point is. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. All right, moving on to line number 5. This is what will complete the shape of our building, and this is the front bottom of our building. So this line is going to go straight across. It is a horizontal line. And it's going to go right back off the edge of my page, like so. So there's line 5, right back off the edge of the page. A nice horizontal line, and I have been using my ruler the entire time. Do not try and free draw this. You will not be successful. Use your ruler. And then I'm just going to go in here and kind of blacken that edge in since I didn't trace that part of my sidewalk yet. So that creates my building. Now I'm going to start with a second building. This building's going to be smaller. It's going to start about an inch down. And instead of going to the edge of my paper, I will be going to the edge of the building that I already drew. So I'm still going to follow my 5-line rule. So I'm going to start at the edge of my building, or the X, and I'm going to make a line that goes out to the X. So line number 1, out to the top of the X. Line number 2, you're going to go right down the side of the X. Line number 3, go straight down to the ground and stops. Line number 4, find that point between line 1 and 2, take it straight down to the ground. Line number 5 is our horizontal line that sends us right back in. We'll stop at our building. And what we've created is we have a nice space in between our buildings now. I will keep going until I am back by my vanishing point. So you can see my buildings are getting smaller and smaller as they disappear into space, because I'm making sure that they are staying within the guidelines that I have already set up for myself. And I am following the 5-line rule to create these buildings that are in perspective. So they diminish in size as they go back into space. Now let's talk about adding doors and windows, because those things need to be in perspective as well. So windows and doors. If the windows and doors are on the front of the building, your lines are going to be vertical and horizontal. Nothing will go to the vanishing point if it's on the front of the building. So let me go ahead and show you. So remember, vertical are lines that go straight up and down, and I will use my ruler to make those lines, because I will always use my ruler whenever I'm drawing my buildings. And do the top of the door with a horizontal line. So none of these lines need to go to the vanishing point. All right, when I'm ready to do the sides of my building, that's a little bit different. When I'm doing the side of my building, that's the part of the building that is going back into space. So my lines will be vertical and they will go to the vanishing point. So they're going to be diagonal lines. And again, I will use my ruler to draw those lines so that my ruler is lining up with the point so that I know what the angle should be. So let me give you an example here. The sides of my windows will still go straight up and down, vertical with my ruler. When I go to do the top and bottom of my windows, I'm going to line my ruler up so that I get the right angle. So I will line my ruler up so that it is touching the vanishing point and where the bottom of my window is supposed to be. Then I'm going to get the right kind of angle. So then my windows are in 1 point perspective. If my window's above this horizon line, the lines point down. If the window's below the horizon line, the lines point up. If our window goes through the horizon line, the top of the window will point down to the vanishing point, and the bottom of the window will point up to the vanishing point. So that line goes up, but this one is going down. I just have to make sure that my ruler is lined up with where I'm putting my window and the vanishing point so that I have the correct angle. At this point, you can continue to add those windows and doors, and you can start adding some details. You're the artist, you decide what kind of buildings you're going to have. Maybe there's curtains, maybe there's balconies, maybe there's a massive party happening on the rooftops. You are the artist, you make that choice. And that's buildings in perspective. Remember to follow your 5-line rule. 1 goes out to the top of the X, short line down the side of the X for line 2. Line 3 goes straight down to the ground. Line 4 happens in between line 1 and 2 where the corner is, down to the ground. Line 5 is back out to the right. For windows and doors, if it's on the front of the building, your lines are vertical and horizontal. If they're on the sides of the building, the tops and bottoms of your windows need to go to the vanishing point.